Hey everybody, so here we go. We are solving, we're factoring some equations that have numbers out front, which sometimes makes things a little bit stressful. So let's just do a couple together. I'm going to start with A, and so let's see, I'm just going to put out my parentheses because that's going to help me. Now, this is set 4, and look at, I've got a minus and a minus. Well, if this is minus, that means one of them has to be a positive and one of them has to be a negative. So let's just go through and figure out, let's take our factors of 6. It can be 1 and 6, it could be 2 and 3. All right, then over here, what things give me 3? I'm just going to do 1 and 3, and then I'll figure out the signs in a little bit, but knowing that one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. In the middle, I find that I've got to get -7. So let's just start putting things together. Maybe you see something right away. I see something right away, but let's just start here. Let's link 1 and 7. Well, 1 times 1 is 7. That's 18. Oh gosh, that's not helpful. How about if I did 3 times 1 and 6 times 1? No, that's not helpful either. Okay, so neither way with this worked. That means I'm going to have a 1 somewhere, a 3 somewhere. So I'm going to write it down next to this, and let's see what we can get. I need to get 7 in the middle, and so since it's negative, the two have to be 7 apart. Oh gosh, hey, do you see it? What if I did 3 times 3? That would give me 9. 2 times 1, that would give me 2. 9 minus 2 is 7. All right, good. So these right here are your x's. So let's put those in. 2x and 3x. And then what's the 3 linked with? The 3 is linked with the 3. So since that's here, the 3 has to be in the other one to multiply. So 3 times 3, good. And then the 2 linked with the 1, so that goes over here. Now I've got to figure out, all right, one of these has to be positive, one negative, and I want the 7 when I add them together to be negative. So that means the bigger of the two. So 3 times 3 is 9. That's the one that needs to be negative. And then I'm going to add the 2. There we go. Set 4, letter A. All right, let's try another one. This one, 5. Alright, so I've got to come up with the first two give me 5. Really, only 1 and 5. Help you to do that, but over here I get 8. Alright, so I can do 1 and 8, or I could do 2 and 4. I'm just going to list them. The best way to do it, there are some fancy tricks, but then nobody ever knows why they're doing the fancy tricks, so we're just not going to do fancy tricks. We're just going to work through it and be glad that we can multiply and add. So I know I've got 1 and 5 for sure. Now, these things multiply to give me 8. This has to be negative, which means one of them has to be positive, one of them has to be negative. And then, so they've got to be 18 apart then. So let's just start going through. 5 times 8 gives me 40, so that's not helpful. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 8, yeah, that's not helpful at all. Okay. Oh, I see it. Do you see it? If they've got to be 18 apart, 5 times 4 gives you 20. 1 times 2 gives you 2. 20 minus 2 gives you 18. Yes? Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to write down, let's see, these are my x's. So I'm going to write down 1x and 5x. It doesn't matter if the 1x comes first or the 5x comes first. Not important because you can multiply in any order. Now, the 5 linked with the 4. Since the 5 is here, the 4 goes here. The 1 linked with the 2. All right, now I know the answer has to be positive. So therefore, where does my positive go? I want positive 20. Yahoo! Okay, let's keep going. Isn't this fun? Let's see. Okay, this next one. We've got 4v. This one is going to be a little more complicated. 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. Remember, you can always pause if you want to do stuff on your own for a while. Then 9, I can do 1 and 9, or I can do 3 and 3. My goal, let's see, it's positive over here, and this is a minus. Hey, that means that whenever I add it in, because you got a positive here and a negative here, they're both going to be negative. So that's helpful. And so really, because they're both negative, you're going to add them together to get negative 15. What might give me negative 15? 1 and 4, 1 and 9. No, that's not helpful. How about 1 times 3? 1 times, so 1 and 4 and 3 and 3. Oh, hey, look, I see it. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. So if I put those together, then I get 15. So let's see. If that's the case, these are my x's and these are just my constants. So I'm going to put the 1x and the 4x right there. All right, the 4 links with the 3. Oh, the nice thing about this, it doesn't matter which 3 goes where. 3 and 3. So negative 12, negative 3 makes negative 15, 4x squared plus 9. Awesome. All right, I'm going to skip D. Let's do one last one together. Oh, this didn't help at all. Let's do E together because it's more complex. And then I'm going to let you do the rest on your own, but hopefully this has been helpful. Again, make sure you're pausing through. All right, 8. How do we get 8? 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Anything else? No. Negative. Okay, this is negative 15, and I get a negative over here, which means one of the, when I do it, one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. So those are just really good to know right off the top of your head. So here are my, I guess we're V's. I've been saying X. I guess it's V's. Doesn't really matter. And then how do I make 15? 1 and 15. And 3 and 5. So now I've got to figure out, okay, how do I make negative 14 in the middle? Because this is negative and this is negative, they're going to be 14 apart. So if that's the case, let's start. 8 times 15, that's not helpful. 8 times 1 is 8. 1 times 15, those aren't 14 apart. Okay, so let's try this. 8 times 5 is 40. No, that's not helpful. 8 times 3 is 24. Minus 5 is 19. Nope, that didn't help. Okay, so this one, we can get rid of that. Not helpful. 14 apart. 2 times 15 is the smallest you get. That's 30. Well, that's not helpful either. So it's got to be these two. Oh, do you see it? Okay, if I do 4 times 5, that's 20. 2 times 3 is 6. Are these 14 apart? Yes. Okay, so if that's the case, I've got my 2x and my 4x. For me, it's helpful to know these things, but I'm not going to write that down until later. If that order works for you, great. But I'm just going to put the 2x and the 4x out. Then, what links up with the 4? The 5. So the 5 has to go here. What links up with the 2? The 6. Okay. Because this is a negative 14, it's the 20 that has to be negative. So where does my minus sign go? Right there. And then this one's going to be positive. So I wrote something wrong. This shouldn't be 6. This should be 3. It's like, uh-oh, something happened. Sorry. Did you catch that? Hopefully you did. There's my 3. I wrote the 6 from here. So 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 4 is 20. negative 14. Hope that's helpful. See you later.